Happy video day, guys. Christina, Brooke here. Today, I am so excited. Finally, I am doing a Make Up Your Mind. It has been so many months, and I know you guys love these type of videos, and I know I always used to do them like a lot, but there really hasn't been too many brand new makeup releases that have kind of caught my attention. I feel like the eyeshadow palettes that I've seen lately just haven't been that interesting, but finally something has released or is going to be released pretty soon that has called my attention. So I decided, let's start going through my collection and let's try to mimic this palette. All right, so the palette that we're gonna be searching for today is a very exciting one. So it's the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau Palette. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I will put the name up on the screen. I am so excited for this palette. I will have to say, I think somebody beat Natasha Denona to the Retro 2 punch. I mean, you guys seen Retro and what we wanted Mini Retro to look like, and she's gonna come out with Retro 2, and isn't this kind of what we were thinking? I don't know, that's what I'm thinking, but I am so excited. Anastasia kind of came out with something that has me very, very thrilled. So if you are new to Make Up Your Mind, this is just a practice that I like to do at home. Basically, I look through my collection and try to mimic an eyeshadow palette to get an idea of what it's gonna look like. After I have it all swatched on my arm, I can kind of look at it and say, okay, are these colors I like to use together? I try to get ideas of different eye looks that I can create. Today's eye look is based off of this palette, and then I can make a better decision for myself on whether I want to pick up the palette or not. So yeah, you guys like to do this at home as well. So we're gonna go through my collection. I'm gonna try to mimic it for you guys, give you my thoughts on color story and whether I think that this is something I'm going to add to my cart. But don't forget to hit subscribe. Let's get into it right now. Okay, so let's roll up the sleeve. Let's roll up the sleeve. Like, I don't know how much this is gonna be. Apparently it's gonna be released on June 13th, literally right around the corner. It says 12 super pigmented shades with incredible color payoff. Hopefully they are not pigments. Pigments kill my eyes, so I'm hoping that they're not. Almost 200% more of every shade than their original palettes. I'm not loving that idea, just because then that could mean more money, right? Let's see. Creamy blendable formula for a natural glam look, releasing on June 13th. I cannot wait. Doesn't have a price tag yet. $55 US. That did go up, right? Isn't Anastasia usually like 45? But it's not that crazy. So I thought that they were gonna really like kill us with that price tag, so that's not that horrible. But anyways, I went ahead and found this in my collection. I will say that I did find, I think, almost every single one of these colors, at least basically the color story itself. And let me show you guys first. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you guys what I came up with. So these are my swatches versus the Anastasia release swatches. And I do think that I found this palette. I found this palette. I'm not mad at that. I'm actually kind of excited that I found this palette because I really, really love this color story. So let me show you guys how I came up with it. I did use a few different palettes. It wasn't like I could say that I have one specific palette that had like all these shades in it. So I'm happy about that. That's a plus. That makes me want to purchase this even more. But anyways, the one that I used the most was probably Natasha Denona's Triochrome. So this was used, I used the Pumpkin Spice from Too Faced, which I really love this palette. I also used the Mini Glam from Natasha Denona. I used the Khaki Obsessions from Huda Beauty, which I love. And I grabbed into my Old Faithful Nars palette. So this is the, what is it called? The Climax palette. So those are the palettes that I basically went into to find this color story. And I have to say, I'm kind of obsessed with this color story. But let's start off with the first one. So for the very first shade, what I did was I jumped into Natasha Denona's Triochrome, grabbed into this color right here called Vertex. It is a really beautiful nudie shade. Kind of reminds me of what I'm seeing in this palette. It's nothing out of this world. It's a really nice base shade. I do think that because this is a more green inspired palette, I do like that there is a shade like this. I'm hoping that it has a little bit more cream to it than nudie flesh tone, only because my skin tone basically is this color, and if it is that color, it might just wash away too much for me, and I'll only be able to use it as a shadow like primer, like to put over the lids, and it won't do too much impact. I hope it has a little bit more pigment. So we'll see about that, but I do like the color. The next one, I went into this color right here called Diatonic or something like that. I love this color. This is, anytime I see a green palette, I pray that it has a color like this in it, just because this is, to me, the most complementary shade to put with greens. And it's like literally, I think ABH killed it with adding this color in, and it also is basically the color that I really love to put with greens. Based off the swatches, this is gonna be perfection. It is what I put on the top of my lids today. Basically, this is a look inspired by this palette using the shades that I found, and I love this look. This is me. This is so me. Okay, so the next one I jumped into Pumpkin Spice, and I grabbed into this color called Falling For You. I think it's gonna be similar to this color. So it's like a greenish tone, very pretty, but it's on the lighter side. I do like this. It has a little bit of like a goldish tint to it. I think it's gonna look very close to this color. And if it does, it has that beautiful, very everyday greenish color. So I do feel like this palette goes between everyday and not. At least that's what I'm envisioning. That's what I'm thinking this is gonna look like, and I'm kind of excited. So the next one, I went into Mini Glam and I grabbed this color. Oh my goodness, a beautiful champagne-y gold. This is also, guys, something that is like literally right up my alley. You guys know how much I like love champagne-y gold shades. I think it's like the most beautiful form of a gold. I can't stand yellow gold anymore. I'm like, since Pat McGrath killed me so much with those yellow golds, every time I see a yellow gold now, I'm like, no more. But this is my kind of gold. And with greens, I don't know. I have a feeling that ABH might have killed it here. Okay, so then when I look at the Triochrome, the next color I grab is Scrap, another color that I'm obsessed with. I mean, this is a beautiful deep green. It looks so similar to the color that I'm seeing coming out from ABH. I love that this is a matte. I love that it's rich. I love that it looks deep. I think that's perfection for deepening out outer V's. That's what I used today to deepen out this look. I also think it allows you to be able to do smoky eyes, which is so like I think is a necessity nowadays. Like you have to be able to do some type of smoky eye. Giving us a really rich, deep shade is like phenomenal. And I love that it's like a greenish brown. I think that was perfection. Then jumping back into Mini Glam, I believe that the color is gonna look like this one. So this is a nice, rich, goldish kind of, it's kind of like a nice, rich, golden bronze color. In between bronze, gold, look at that. I think it's gonna look so much like that. I mean, off the swatches, it looks like it's gonna look so close to that. I'm already seeing beautiful day looks that I can do with that shade mixed in with this little green, using it a little bit lightly on the outer V and just putting that like bronzish shade all over the eyes. Like, I don't know, I kind of really like this. So right now I'm very excited. As you can tell, I don't think I can hide my excitement when I think a palette is just like phenomenal. The next one, this is like, ABH always does this. It has to have like a pop, something like different. Like it has to have like the fuchsia or the whatever. I am so happy she did this. She put a lilac, which lilacs and greens look so good together. Miss Natasha already kind of like gave us this idea, but look at this. This beautiful lilac color. I even think it's going to be richer than this color. So this color might be a little on the lighter side. I could probably mix in a little bit of this color right here and just kind of deepen it out, you know, just make it a little bit less, to make it a little bit more purple. I think it's gonna look similar to that, maybe even a little lighter, but look at that. Look at that purple with those greens. For today's look, I actually put it on the lower lash line with a purple eyeliner and mixed it together, and I was like, wow, greens and purples. It's just so beautiful together. I love greens and purples. So I was like, wow, okay, yes. I love that pop. I also like that this pop of color is not like crazy. It's such a beautiful pop that just really is so cohesive with the greens that I feel like a day look using this shade all over the lids and then just using the deep green on the lower lash line could be so beautiful. I think I love this. And I'm gonna go into my all-time favorite palette, my Nars Climax. Now this shade looks like a shifty shade, right? I know I've seen this color before, and I feel like it was from the Natasha Denona Lila that had something close to this, but Lila shifted a little bit too pinky, and this one looks like it goes from a blue to a green. I feel like I've seen this, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly which shade it was. Tell me down below if you know which shade I'm talking about. But what I'm gonna do is mix these two colors right here. So I grab a little bit of this one, right? Just to get the color. I just wanna see what it's gonna look like. So there is that beautiful like bluish kind of gray. And then I grab this green right here, and just kind of like dab it on top. So now it's gonna be a green, but then it also has a little bit of that blue hint to it. I think it's gonna look like that, and that is so pretty. I'm not a huge shifty shader girl. You know, you guys know I'm like the shifty shades to me, just not my thing. I like to see where I'm going, and then I don't like when I'm turning my eyes and it changes the color on me, but I like this color. We'll see. Most likely that'll be the shade that I'll use the least in the palette, but I do like that there's something different. It's multi-dimensional, I guess, as they say. All right, so then the next color, I actually think that this was kind of cool. So I jump into Khaki Obsessions and I grab this one right here. This is a beautiful bronzy with a little bit of like an orange hint to it. I do like this because also this is giving me the idea that we can go in a bronzy direction, which with a little bit of like the oranges, we don't have to stick only to the greens, but this deepening shade that they gave us here, I think works well with the oranges as well. So it's still very, very beautiful. This is still in my realm. We're still going for gold here with this palette. Next one's gonna be a toss-up on whether it's gonna be this orange or if it's gonna be a little lighter. But based off the swatch, it looks very similar to the pumpkin spice color in Ginger Spice. So Ginger Spice had a little bit of like a brownie, but it still kind of was like burnt. I think it might be like that, like a burnt orange. And if it is, it's stunning. It's giving us a different direction. We were going very green, very hunter, very fall. And then now we're playing with a little bit more of like early fall colors. You know, I feel like this is a very wearable palette. So then when I go into the next one, I go into this Nars palette again. I went into this color right here. This is one of my favorite colors in the Nars palette. I think it's gonna look close to this. So this is such a pretty green. This is literally like the type of green you want to just like throw all over the lids. I actually did add a little bit of this green on my lids today to kind of like add a little bit of that sparkle. In the inner portion, I had one from the Glam palette, which I think was this one up here. So that is just still stunning. Still beautiful colors. Would love to see how different this one is from this one, because it does look like this one's gonna have more of a gold, this one's gonna have more of a green. And if that's the case, they're gonna be very different from each other. And then the last shade is I grabbed this one right here from the Nars palette. This is a beautiful, rich brown metallic shade, and look at that. I believe that this one though is gonna not have as much shine in the ABH. I believe this one will probably have less shine in the ABH because it would only make sense for it to be able to be used also as an outer edge deepening shade, maybe like a satin. I think it would make sense then for it to be like a straight up metallic. So I'm hoping for that because I would like one more shade that is like kind of like not that green deepening shade. Like maybe if I can go in the brownish direction, that would be nice too. So that's what I'm hoping for with this one, but I do know it's gonna have shine to it. I just hope it doesn't have too much shine. But this is what it's gonna look like, at least based off of the swatches, looking through my collection, trying to mimic it. It's gonna look similar to this. The toss up here is definitely going to be the shifty shade. How much is it gonna shift? Is it gonna shift more to the green side? Is there a little bit of blue in it? I would really wanna know that. But overall, this is what it's gonna look like. Overall, I'm kind of obsessed. Let's just make up my mind right now and say, obviously, Christina is picking this up. I mean, I'm obsessed with these type of colors. You guys know green, hunter greens, peaches, sages, like those are like my realm. And when it comes to eyeshadow looks, I think that they are so gorgeous. And this is kind of like what or at least I was expecting Retro was gonna look like from Natasha Denona in this realm. And you guys know Retro 2 is coming out, so it's probably gonna release in the fall, I'm assuming, of this year. And I think Anastasia might have just beat Natasha to the punch and release the green palette that everybody's going to love, I hope, because this looks stunning. I am loving these shades. I am loving the idea. I'm crossing my fingers on the formula. We can definitely say color story wise, I believe that this is gonna be gorgeous. Now formula, that's gonna be a toss-up. We're gonna see. Obviously, I'm going to order this. I will be trying it for you guys because I just think it's stunning. Anastasia usually has a really nice formula that I really love. However, sometimes she likes to put pigments in her palettes, which irritate my eyes. I think we're gonna go in a lot of different directions here, and I think a lot of people are going to like the color story. So yes, it's coming home with me. I want to know from you guys, based off of the color story, do you have any palettes in your collection that look really similar to this, that you don't believe that you want to pick this up, or are you very excited? You know, as we were talking about mini retro, this is kind of like what I was talking about. Like, you see, I could kind of see how these would be, you know, sisters, you know, retro maybe going a little bit more pink, but also Wild Greens that released this year. It's kind of broken. This one has a very similar color story too, but I didn't even use this one as a reference because I felt like the colors were not exact and I had better colors in my collection and other palettes. But yeah, those have similar ideas. I do think that the Huda Beauty Khaki Obsessions has a very similar color story. You're not getting all the colors, but you're getting, you know, similar color story. So if you like this palette, like me, like I do, you're probably gonna really love this new release. So this was a very exciting Make Up Your Mind. So let me know down below what you guys are thinking. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you have not already, especially if you wanna see more videos like this one. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.